MB Enclosures has his own YouTube channel, and this guy is an animal when it comes to designing boxes.
Unbelievable. I couldn't even believe that there was 2 8s in there.
This guy right here is doing something special.
I welcome y'all to MBE, what you about to see, box building in a different league. In this SQL scene, believe that money ain't a thing when it comes to its kings. Now that's fact, not fiction. Call 44694 48 then 18. Don't matter, you got 4 8s or 1 8 or anything between. He got what you need.
This is my crew. This is my gang. These are my kings.
What's up? It's your boy MB with some news you can use. Well, today's vehicles, these 21st century vehicles, particularly those from 2019 on up, man, they not making these vehicles today with aftermarket radios being able to put in. I mean, look at them new Chevy ATV4s. The long screen. You already automatically know you stuck. Man, they haven't came out with a radio for them as of yet. Whether it's a Ford, Chevy, GMC, Ram, a lot of these cars are coming out with premium audio systems. Bose, B&O, Sony, Harman Kardon. But how they positioning the radios inside the vehicle and separating the two, man, you just not removing them, period. They not coming out. They tell too much of the vehicle's functions, diagnostics of the vehicle. They just not making them come out. They said, man, if you want a sound system, we'll give you that. Well, even in those packages, the bass does not be what we as bass enthusiasts, informed consumers like. So how do I get the bass that I want? I do like the positioning, the placement of the mids and highs. Possibly can give more clarity is by switching out the speakers and putting in the same ohm load that was there previously. DSP or the factory amp ain't gonna know the difference. But man, this bass is not where it's at. What do I use there? Well, there's a good contingent of installers or shops or people that are willing to sell you stuff sometimes you don't need. Tell you need to get a pack harness. You need to get this harness to override the ANC, this, that, and other. I'm here to tell you that is not necessarily the case 95% of the time. You don't need that harness. If you're just adding bass, you're not changing the rest of the speakers. I just want more bass than I have now. But I must say as a caveat, it is advisable to upgrade the mids and highs. So in that instance, you're gonna need that harness. But if you're not trying to do that as of right now, and I just want bass, because upgrading the harness with installation and replacing the speakers and running new wires, man, that can go north of $2,500 easy in today's world. But here's something you can do that you can do and leave the system relatively intact and still add bass to your system. All these vehicles are having some kind of DSP or factory amp installed. And they have a subwoofer dedicated channel. Or they have a dedicated subwoofer inside the vehicle. Here's where a favorite company I love to use, Audio Control, comes into play. How? Well, with the Audio Control 2i, you would get your high inputs from that subwoofer signal. That positive negative wire that goes to a factory subwoofer. You're just gonna take that and plug that into here. Then you're gonna take this device. Once you plug that signal in here, you're gonna take the RCA from this side, which is the bass output, and you're gonna run this RCA to your amp. If you buy this package with the bass remote knob, which is basically a remote gain, wherever you set this gain at, you can control to and from that point up at your driver's positioning. You now have a way of controlling how much bass you get. Now, here's another thing. Somebody's gonna comment on the video, yeah, but it doesn't account for the roll-off that when you turn the on the factory system, when you turn the volume up, it dials back some of the volume on the mids and highs. Yeah, that's true, but that's not gonna happen to the subwoofer. That's a dedicated subwoofer line. Subwoofer line is fine. So you might not have to use the AccuBase here that will restore that back up if that system does it. Most premium audio systems that come in these new model vehicles, the subwoofer signal is never rolled back when you turn the volume up. About 98% of them. You turn the volume up, the only thing that's affected is the mids and highs, not the sub signal. So if you take the sub signal and plug it into here, then you have a means of not only adjusting the gain and giving it more of a boost, not a boost, but increasing the signal to your amplifier, increasing the voltage on the outside. If it does roll back, you have a way of rolling it, bringing it back to its original intent with these two buttons right here. This is just tapping into the sub signal. Remember this, because my words they love to twist my words. If your factory system has a dedicated subwoofer line, take the wires from that subwoofer, plug it into this device. You now have RCAs to send to your amplifier. If you buy this with the remote control, then you have a way of controlling your bass to and from where you have it set. Here, I still recommend using this on this side with a Steve Meade DD1, plus or 1, whichever one you get, to make sure your signal is set correctly. And now you have added a subwoofer signal with amplification to your vehicle. All you need now is a box of MBE. Now let's say that's with the LC2i. And 2i enables you to run, you can tap into that sub signal and you're gonna have the substage. But let's say you don't tap, it doesn't have a dedicated subwoofer signal. Then you're gonna tap into the rearmost speaker. That's gonna be your full range signal. That most likely is gonna be your full range signal. In most cars, now there's a caveat to that, in most cars, you get that full range signal, you put it inside here, high, the speaker wire, from left or right door, back, full range. Or maybe that back 6x9 and dash. You plug that speaker wire into here. You can tap into it or you can disconnect it totally and run into this device. Then it's going to separate the sub signals here and it's going to give you a full range signal up here that you can send to your aftermarket amplifier. So you can run a sub stage and mids and highs. At that point, if you run the mids and highs amp, you're going to have to do what? Disconnect all those mids and high speakers and run the wires to the amplification so you can get louder. That is a tedious process. Some people just drop the vehicle off. But others, they say, man, I can buy the components. I can watch enough videos on YouTube and do this stuff myself. DIY. This is a device I recommend. You do not necessarily have to buy a harness if you just want to add bass. Now, with that being said, if you're not trying to run 2 amps, you're using the subwoofer signal from your premium audio system, no matter what brand it is, you could just get a LC1i. Same thing. Take the subwoofer signal, put it into here. It's going to give you RCA on the outside. It's also going to give you a line driver so you can increase the voltage and get you a higher threshold, noise threshold. So you can increase the voltage coming out of the signal to the voltage that can give you less of a gain needing to match. The less gain you use on your amplifier, the better your sound system is going to sound overall. So if you use this device, tap into the subwoofer signal, only the dedicated subwoofer signal. You'll get the RCA. You use this as a line voltage. You set these settings as needed, and the manual tells you on the LC1i, and your factory amp never knows the difference. What about the active noise cancellation? Sir, it's a subwoofer signal. It's not going to cancel out your bass. And those that tell you it is, that's a lie, because you can go back to videos, and I might tag 2 or 3 videos in the link to this video description where you can clearly see I'm doing 140, 141 dB, and I'm still using a factory radio. My factory Alpine radio. And I have in my 2018 RAM, it does have ANC. And I'm still able to get the score that I was able to get because that is not how that is used. And all I used was a LC2i. Tapped into the sub signal. Now they have a LC1i. Just tap into the sub signal. You can add bass to your ride in your driveway, in your home, instantly, quickly. You know how to put an amp in? Well, it won't cut itself off. These devices, both of them have remote sense turn on, which means once they detect a speaker signal in the wire that's connected to it on this side, it activates its remote turn on so that it can turn on another device. Real simple. Run the power back to the amplifier. You ain't even got to find a relay. You can just jump over. Soon as these devices detect a signal, they turn on the amplifier. Turn the truck off, no signal, amplifier cuts off. Fact, now fiction. This needs to be the most heavily watched video, particularly with where we're going today. They coming out with these trucks. They don't want you to take the radio out. And you think, oh man, if I buy the truck, I can give up my sound system. That's not the case. That's not the case. I've been using these type devices on factory systems in my truck for the longest. Now I got aftermarket radio, so it's not necessary. But on my next truck that I buy, until I decide to switch everything out, I'm definitely going to take this, tap into that subwoofer stage, and power my amplifier to power my subwoofer. Y'all be blessed. The end result of making this thing sound good is you need an MB box. That's what I say. What about everybody? I don't care about everybody. I care about me. My box. Y'all be blessed.